Don't know how well this camera's picking that up. All these barriers, all of a road blocked, and prohibited parking signs. You see, all these local parking schemes, I say scheme, I want to say scams, are put in place by councils, and it's meant to give you somewhere to park and make sure everyone's got somewhere to park. But then in a situation like this where you've got like a big chunk of a road closed off, that's a load of places where people can't park, and then you're forced to park in other zones, because it might be like sort of 7, 8, 9 roads or whatever that fall into one zone, and then there's another zone. So then when they've got pretty much a road blocked off like that, you've got nowhere to park, so then you're forced to park in another zone. And even though that's only restricted at certain times, if you're working nights, you come home, everyone's parked, you get home say 3, 4 in the morning, you park in another zone. Even if you set your alarm to get up to move your car, you might sleep through it. Then when you finally do get up, you go to your car, it was parked in the wrong zone that you don't have a permit for, it's been towed away. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Because if they're going to close off a massive chunk of a zone, they should give you permits to park in other zones. Wouldn't be difficult. No, just whatever zone you're in, whatever neighbouring zones there are, give you a permit that allows you temporary parking in those surrounding zones. And then you've actually got somewhere to park. And if what they're about is giving you somewhere to park, they're not about giving out tickets. No, that's not what they're about. But then when you look into the reality of it, these parking schemes are actually run by private companies. It's not your actual council that runs it. It's a private company that runs the parking and gives out the tickets, and has the wardens going around checking the tickets. So that private company has had to bid to get the contract, so there's investment. They've got to buy the cars to go driving around in and the motorbikes to ride on, and have the tow vehicles. That's investment. Then they've got to have the drivers, they've got to have the staff, they've got to have like the scanners, the cameras, the printers, they've got to have all of that stuff in place. And if you think about the kind of financial investment that actually requires, that's a lot of money that company's had to put out without earning a penny back. So then they have to earn that money back. Now, you don't make investments to lose money. It's the corporate world we live in. Everyone's in it to make money. So then you've got to look at that reality that they've got all that investment. They need to make that money back. Well, then there has to be some kind of a quota for giving out tickets. There has to be some kind of a quota for getting vehicles towed away. There's a requirement. They have to earn X amount per year to get that money back. It's logic. And then when you start trying to sort of look into it and find out what's going on, the council's got no responsibility because it's a private company. The council hasn't done anything wrong by tying your car. The council hasn't done anything wrong by giving you that ticket. It was a private company. So again, they decentralise it. They remove any accountability. They remove any kind of liability. It's all the fault of this private company. It's just bullshit. Even down to trying to get the permit, you have to do that online. You can't just phone up and do it. You can't do it by post. You can't go into the council offices to get a permit. All has to be done online. And then at the time when they introduced it, I phoned up the council went through their switchboard of press this number, press that number, press this number, press that number. Finally got to talk to someone. They weren't making much sense. I just asked them like who the best person is to talk to. They put me through to someone in planning and roads and whatever. Talking to them and asking them like, what about someone who's dyslexic? You know, they can't get online and type everything up. They're going to struggle with that. Or someone who has some kind of phobia. It is actually a real phobia, technophobia. And there's no law, no rule, no stipulation, no obligation for you to have a computer. There is no law, no obligation, no regulation, no nothing that says you have to have an email address. So therefore, it must be in breach of someone's human rights to deny them service based on the fact that they don't have a computer. And then the solution offered to me was, well, you could go to your local library. I said, well, even if I go to a local library to use a computer, I'm not able to use a computer. So, well, the staff will help you. But if you give out all your bank details and you give out all your information, that then falls back on you, doesn't it? You're liable for that. If your account was then defrauded in any particular way, or there was anything that was amiss on your account, that's your fault for giving out your details. You're not meant to give out those kind of details publicly. They haven't got a closed off room. All the computers are in one big room, so you can't even give your details out privately. And the staff there aren't necessarily trained in data protection acts. They're not necessarily trained for that actual process. So as much as, yes, there is a route to getting it done, it's totally inappropriate to do it that route. And it's just this constant process of the corporate process taking over the public sector. And I was saying to the woman, like, it just sort of, if someone has social anxiety, that's why they drive. They need their car to get out and do things because they struggle on public transport. They're going to then struggle to go to a library. If they've got something like dyslexia where they can't necessarily, type the information in accurately, then surely that is discrimination. And she said, I've got to terminate the call. I said, why? She goes, because you said discrimination. I said, well, it is discrimination. How do you report discrimination without saying discrimination? She went, I've got to terminate the call, and just hung up on me. It just when you are actually being discriminated against, or you can see that there is discrimination within a process, you can't even report the discrimination. How messed up is that? And these are the people who are getting paid like potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds. And then you start seeing these cases come out of people who work in the housing department who are running benefit fraud. And it's you see, they've got access to all the files that say what houses are occupied and what ones aren't. They've got links to people in estate agents who they work closely with. They're the best placed people to carry out these kind of frauds. They're claiming benefit for housing, and then that house that they're getting the benefits for, they're then subletting out to someone else and getting cash off of that. People like sort of making millions in the course of a few years by working for the council and running scams. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and these people just get away with it because there's a constant process of removal of accountability. Even though the decentralisation of all these processes from any kind of central government, making it your local authority's responsibility, the way they then, as your local authority, manage that process and remove the public from it, you don't even go to the buildings anymore because there's no point going there because it's all done by email. As soon as you get to the door, you've got security in your face. No one wants to talk to you, no one wants to listen, everything has to be done by appointment, and then they've got your names, all your details, everything, and you then become the problem. And once you're made a problem, you'll be targeted as a problem. It's just absolute madness. I don't know why people ain't just seeing it for what it is. It's not hard to just see it for what it is, but I don't know what it is in this country. People are just fucked. just dumb, stupid, docile, apathetic idiots. Sit there watching the TV, believing everything they see, thinking everything's alright. Being thankful we don't live somewhere like Burma or Myanmar, whatever it's called. I remember a news report saying that, trying to make it sound like it's a horrific place to live, and going on about how disgusting it was that a group of 4 or more people could be treated as a riot and dispersed as such. You're then going to sit there and go, oh my God, that's terrible. You know, the idea that 4 people meeting up could be treated as a riot, that's disgusting, that's oppression, that's terrible. You know, that's tyrannical, you know. Imagine living somewhere like that. Well, in the UK, a group of 2 people can be treated as a riot. You know what I mean? You're twice as free in Myanmar than you are in the UK. But the way they present it to you, they don't fill you in on those kind of facts. They don't fill in the gaps. They just make everywhere else sound terrible. And the worse they make everything else look, the better you think it is where you are. Open your eyes, people. Take a look around. Take a look around. The place is fucked. And if you ain't a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.